Welcome back to the Two Promises podcast. Let's dive right into another exciting adventure with BD and crew as he pursues his new passion of one day finding the most epic bourbon. The Two Promises team send their special thanks to Hobie and the Huckleberries for their masterful theme music. So grab a glass, relax, and enjoy responsibly.
Baby says she's leaving if I don't stop drinking wine. So I switched to whiskey and I'm feeling fine. Drinking that smooth whiskey. No more wine. I like straight bourbon. Baby, you try the ride.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so glad you're here at the Two Promises podcast. And we, again, have a very special guest. It's a very long-time friend going back to our childhood days. And she is the co-host of the High Tales of History podcast. As you know from my podcast, I'm very interested in history, and I like to add some historical flavor along with current events and have fun and enjoy kind of the ride. And that energy and more that Laurel and her sister brings to the High Tales of History podcast. Welcome to the show, Laurel.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me, BD. It's so much fun to be here.
Excellent. So how long have you been doing the podcasting?
We are on 3.5 years so far with it. It'll be 4 as of June, so we're getting pretty close. They're just a little over that halfway mark. And it's been such a wonderful ride. We've just started our 5th season. We just started adding the seasons in, so basically season 1 is like 2 years long. And now
Nice.
We've chunked it up a little bit. Now we're at season 5. We just started that, and we're so excited to keep on going as it's been growing.
Excellent. So if you don't mind just introducing yourself to our listeners, a little bit more about you, your background, and maybe the journey that brought you to deciding to start your podcast 2.5 years ago.
Sure. Yeah. So I was a personal trainer. My background is in exercise science. And so it was personal training, nutrition coaching, just basically health and wellness. I worked in a few different jobs in that industry. And I loved it. I got some really great experience, lots of good people skills and networking that came out of that. Of course, I've been able to apply with podcasting. But once COVID came, I was pregnant, and it just, all these things came together. Like, I was going to have this baby right as like COVID lockdown is happening. And so when you're at home with a newborn and, also restrictions on, when you can go and when you can't, like all that going on, I was home a lot, and I just really wanted an outlet for creativity. I loved being able to speak with people and that working as a personal trainer, but I missed creativity in my life. And I always had a real passion for history. It was one of my favorite subjects, but also one of the ones I was naturally good at, which is always nice. That
Yes.
always helps the love for a subject when it's like, you're naturally a little bit better at that than, say, math or chemistry. And I turned to my sister, who also, I remember her really liking history as well. And I said, you know what, it would be really fun. Would you just like to have a for fun history podcast? Just, we're not going to try and pretend that we're professors or academics in any way, just two people who really love just chatting about history. And where I live in Illinois, and so that in that state, it's a recreational cannabis is legal. So her and I, that our whole thing is High Tales of History. We partake in the Mary Jane in some way, shape, or form, and then we surprise each other with a story from history. And for the most part, it's anything from, well, she's done like Frederick Douglass. We've had a Harriet Tubman, maybe some more famous historical figures, and as well as a focus on people, places, and things really that are less known and not necessarily so seen in the history books, but all come together to give a greater, I say the greater tapestry of history, so you can understand all the parts of it instead of just like these individual, accounts that we've read in our history books. So that's what I've been doing. I got into it, and I've taught myself as I've gone along. And so for a little over 4 years now, been doing some sort of form of podcasting, and it's led to other opportunities to do it professionally too. So it's been a really great ride so far, and I've really enjoyed it.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I might have gotten the time wrong a little bit right there. I really do enjoy your content. I've listened to quite a few of the episodes, and I do like how you highlight some of the lesser known tales and how you bring it forward into kind of the present and some of the memorials and monuments and even locations that might be named after these individuals. I believe one of the ones that sticks out is your podcast on the history of aviation and the impacts that different female aviators, I believe, had on aviation, and then also how they lost out potentially on the naming of the airport in Chicago because of Al Capone's accountant
Yeah.
or something along those lines.
It's so wild, isn't it? It's funny that you bring up that specific example because I was just looking, I get my daily email of what happened today in history. And that's actually something that happened today was Butch O'Hare became an ace pilot. I think he's America's first ace pilot, which, oh my gosh, I hope I'm getting this right. Like, I think you become an ace when you shot down 5 enemy planes. I believe that's when you become an ace. And he became an ace, if I have that number correct, either 5 or 10, but he became an ace within one battle,
Wow.
in one moment in the sky there. And so, yeah, so Butch O'Hare, that he was like the American hero pilot of World War II, but his daddy in the years past, it was the accountant got pulled into the Al Capone circle, and it kind of left a bit of a stain on the O'Hare family. But yeah, I mean, there are so many amazing stories from history. We've talked about Bessie Coleman and how she was the first Black woman to have a pilot's license and the amazing things that she was doing as the Tuskegee Airmen. That's another amazing story, too. There's so many amazing people that contribute to the fabric of history. And I think it's really important for all those stories to be told and known, because I feel like when everyone's represented in that way, people can see themselves like maybe in these historical accounts. And I think that's a really powerful thing. It can make history so much more relatable and tangible and real for people, because I think that's where people kind of have maybe a disconnect. It's like, oh, history is something in the past. That's all fine and good. But how that really relates to things that happen today for us and that legacy there. So, yeah. But nice job with the Butch O'Hare there. That was just perfect timing that is actually something that's happened today in history as we record this.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, yeah, and there's been so many of them that I've really, really enjoyed listening to. So I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and it's really great to see some of your guests that come on, and you and your sister's energy are just fantastic. So keep doing what you're doing. You guys are rocking it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to hear that, and glad you have enjoyed it.
So kind of going a little bit more into your past. So you were looking for a creative outlet, something that you could get out there, you could have some type of performance or presence in the online space. And you mentioned that you came from a physical training, health sciences background, but I seem to remember you being involved in some type of dance as well. That was probably some of your artistic roots.
Yeah, that's a way to put it, for sure. I've always loved being creative. I remember, and especially since our friendship goes so far back, I remember there would be times at family parties where the cousins, we would put on a play. Like, I feel like this is very much in my wheelhouse of like, all right, everybody, here we go. Be the director. I'm going to organize something. We're going to put a play on, or some sort of skit or a little dance. This is what we're going to do. Here's your part. Here's your part. But it's
yeah, great memories.
great memories. This is what we're doing. And yeah, so I did dance when I think I started when I was like 2.5, 3, those little preschool classes. And that is, I think of anything that I've really, really loved and been passionate about, dance is the thing that's like really sticks in my soul. And I don't take dance classes anymore, although I would love to get back to them. But I did it a lot when I was a kid. I went to a competition dance school. So like we had, there was a sort of a different atmosphere, if anyone's ever familiar with like competition dance, like what that's like. And then was out of it for a while. I think really during those like most formative years when one would do it. But then I got back into it in my late teens and then did it all through my 20s again. And I just really went for it. And I was like, I'm going to take as many classes as I can. And it was wonderful. It's wonderful just to be able to dance and move. But yeah, you're right. good connection that you made there, that it feels like I'm returning to creativity and being able to like perform in a way. Even if I'm sitting in my chair with my microphone, I'm moving the rest of my body. I'm kind of performing with my voice and with my storytelling of history. And then it's fun to be able to be creative for social media too, and like find some ridiculous clothing in a drawer and like pretend that,
Right.
I've drawn mustaches on and like big eyebrows or whatever. I'm like, this is fun. It's all part of the performance of history in that case.
Right. And I think probably going back to our times as kids and putting on shows and skits and stuff like that, even to this day, I'm a huge fan of collecting just random hats. So it's like I might be wearing normal clothes, but I have this big, massive beer hat that I got at Oktoberfest in Korea. Or a captain's hat. So yeah, I can relate to doing the fashion
Right.
show.
Yeah, and you never know when you might need a good hat. That captain's hat might come in handy. And when anytime anyone's like, "Hey, we're going out and someone needs to be the captain," and you're like, "Boom, I'm the captain now. That's me."
Let me tell you, that hat was in grave danger a few years ago. Don't remember the exact year, but have you heard of the Yacht Week?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Yacht Week is like this, for those that haven't heard of it. The Yacht Week is like this big event, and it happens, I don't know how many times a year, but at least during the spring. And what they do is they just go to different, like, really nice places around the world. So my buddy did one in Croatia, but the thing is, we don't really do the regular Yacht Week. We don't like sign up with the thing. What we did is we did it a little bit more pirate style, where we commissioned and chartered other vessels, and we just stalked them and followed around the Yacht Week and just tried to get into any of the non-ticketed events,
Right.
if you will. So Yacht Week off the beaten path, if you will. And that was one of the hats. Of course, I had to pack a few. So that was
Perfect.
one of the hats that came on the adventure. But man, there was so many near misses for it getting stolen. I also brought one of my original like Navy sailor Dixie Cup hats,
Uh-huh.
and I sacrificed that one to save my captain's hat.
Oh, I love that was your plan, right? Like anytime I think pirate anything, I always think of you. And it's just like the fact that you guys were like, right, Yacht Week. So there's a certain connotation to Yacht Week, and then it's like you guys, I don't know why I'm picturing you guys dressed sort of piratey in some way, whatever that might entail. And that you're just kind of like going talking behind other ships, and they're like driving, and they're like, they're still back there.
Right.
They're following us.
Are they with the group?
Are they with you guys? I don't know. I don't know.
Are we about to get boarded?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a very good time. Very good time. 10 out of 10, do recommend. Stalk Yacht Week. Oh, man.
Oh, brilliant. That's
So-
the best way to do it.
Let's see. What else? Oh, yeah. And at least for the Dixie Cup, that one, it had some wine stains on it or two.
That's perfectly appropriate. That's
Right,
good. Yeah,
right.
there you go.
Oh, man. So, another kind of curious thing that I have is you have dove pretty deep into podcasting. You've been enjoying it for the creative outlet, and you've kind of talked about how it's fulfilling in those ways. Are there any other like moments that you've had in your podcasting journey that you were just like, oh man, that's a really nice feather in my cap, or I feel really good about that? Is there anything like that that you can think of that you'd like to share?
Yeah, with podcasting, I always tell everybody I spent 13 years, just about 13 years in health and exercise, in that arena, if you will. And in all those years, I never had the same amount of support and friendship and networking and opportunity as what my career was, basically, what I went to school for and everything, versus how it's been in podcasting, especially like the history podcasting circle and content creators. There are a lot of people that do it, but they're kind of like certain circles. And so these people that I have met along the way have all been infinitely kind and welcoming, and the understanding that everyone's got a seat at this table is really wonderful. There's before with training, that's everyone's like worried about, don't steal my clients or don't steal my methods, or hey, this is my exercise that I like to do this way. And it's like there's a lot of this is mine, like hoarding of information and opportunity. But in podcasting, everyone's been so wonderful, and I have made some like really amazing friends, like real close friendships. And these are people that live, some are somewhat close by, in nearby states. Some people are clear across the country or in other continents. And it's all very much of that feeling of, hey, if you are anywhere nearby me, I want to meet you. I want to see you. I want to spend time with you. Let's go out. Let's get coffee, which is a really great feeling. They mean it,
Yeah.
which is great, And with that, it's another history podcaster whose day job is business to business podcasting. And that allowed me an opportunity to become a professional podcaster doing business to business podcasting as a host for a client. And that's been a really wonderful opportunity. I've been doing that for about 1.5 years. And also working with, even though I am not an academic myself, I have a lot of really wonderfully smart people around me that I can compare notes to and be like, is this, please, with your big brain and the letters after your name, can you can you kind of double check something for me, or how did this episode sound, or so I can always be learning. But with that, it allowed me an opportunity to recently go to Coventry University in Coventry, England. I'm friends with one of the course directors there, Dr. Darren Reed, and he was like, hey, like, do you want to just talk to my class? It's their 4th year undergraduate students, and just tell them about like what your experience has been in podcasting and like some of the opportunities there. Podcasting, I guess, how I understand it, is one of their final projects that they can do is to like create a podcast around something or some sort of digital content, and testing like how they communicate history basically, and being able to have a podcast on something. So that was something that was really fun. The students were all really
International
engaged.
keynote speaker.
Yeah, I could. That's something I can say now. I've spoken at a university for students, and they were all really engaged and really lovely, and had lots of great questions. Were genuinely curious about what I'm doing, and that was So it's great. It's presented so many opportunities, and both professionally and personally, it's been just an absolute joy to be in this field.
Absolutely, that's super cool. I'm kind of a returning student, so I did most of my college experience online, right? Mm-hmm. And its own environment, it's not really real engaging. It's hard to do that much, at least as like the technology. Now technology's gone so much beyond, and it can probably be a lot more engaging than it traditionally has been. But going to school at an actual college and like having in-person classes has been a really neat experience. And I think I can kind of relate to some of the things that you're saying of the welcomingness, the open-mindedness, the people that you meet. Mostly I'm talking about like the students. Obviously I've got really great professors too, but I think I was a little surprised, and happily surprised, at how there were so many people that you could have those genuine friendships with. And I'm an art student, and I came from like a military career. So typically you don't think those two like going together, and like sometimes like oil and water, if you will. But that has not been my experience. It's been very open, inviting, doors opening, opportunities and stuff like that, just like you mentioned. So it's been a really great experience, and I'm glad that you've been able to experience that as well through your podcasting journey.
Mm-hmm. I'm really glad to hear that. That's like really cool. I love being back in school and back in classes and stuff. I just love learning, which is also part of why I do history podcasting, because I'm like, I just get to learn this. And the reason why I find the topics that I do is it's just because I hear about something or read a little bit about something. I go, that's interesting. I want to learn more about that, So I get excited about that. I want to share that. But I think that's so cool that you've found such a wonderful, welcoming space.
Absolutely.
Back at school again. I think that's wonderful.
Especially since, you've known me for a long time, and art is not like the first things that you really think about whenever we would hang out. It was usually us out being very active, playing, exploring, things like that. And me doing things with my hands and creating in that way just wasn't that's out of my comfort zone, if you will. Whenever they say, hey, if you want to learn and you want to grow, you're going to find that growth outside of your comfort zone. So that has definitely been my experience with moving into the art world, because it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been podcasting for a while. You've been successful by hosting your own podcast and doing a great job in growing that and growing your audience. And then you've also been exposed to opportunities where you can create podcasts for other people as a professional extension of your hobby. I don't mean to minimize it,
No,
but
it is,
it kind of maybe started that way, and then it's grown into this other venture and opened up a lot more opportunities, and they're going to continue to open as you go on. So my next question is, if someone is interested in starting a podcast or new at a podcast, what kind of advice would you give them?
I think it's a really good question. It is something I get a lot from some other podcasters about how getting started, or what kind of equipment are you using, things like that. I think starting with what you want your voice to be in that space, in whatever space you choose. So for me, with it being history, there are history podcasts that just talk about World War II history or military history in general, or there's some that are only women's history, or things like that. We take a bigger look at it, but our niche is kind of like, we're two sisters. This is casual. We want to make the information as true and as well researched as we could possibly be, but we have some silly jokes sometimes, kind of silly and immature. We smoke some weed, that kind of thing. So we try to make it accessible in that way, and that's our little thing. I think when you can find, what's your topic to be, what you want your voice to sound like in that space, kind of like making a mission statement for yourself, I guess. Like, what's your goal with it? And then, honestly, for me, I just started figuring it out, really. I think Audacity is a great free platform to use that's very popular amongst other podcasters and those who have audio content. It's pretty user-friendly. And really what I do is I just spent some time with some YouTube videos and some Google searches. And I was just in terms of the actual doing it, just figuring that out for myself and see what sounded good. There are plenty of books out there that exist. There are other podcasters that teach people how to podcast. Those things all exist. But I think really what it comes down to, really separating yourself, is it's putting yourself out there. What do you have to sell and give? Because people are going to be listening. Again, just using history as an example, there's hundreds of history podcasts. Some of them are way more popular than others. And a little indie podcast like mine would never really get the eyes or the listens on it if there wasn't something that my sister and I weren't bringing that was different, So I think really finding what your voice and your niche can be with that, I think is one of the best first steps you can take. What makes you different than anybody else? Because you can still be talking about the exact same thing that Joe Schmo's podcast is talking about, but you can bring it in a way that you are the product in a sense.
I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You articulated that very well. Finding that niche, well, what separates you from the crowd, and kind of drilling in on that. And another thing that you mentioned that is something that I think, universal, is you kind of touched on it, but I'm just kind of bring it right back out a little bit, is the being comfortable being a little messy. They've said it in different ways, you have to be bad before you can be good. You have to be good before you can be great, something along those lines. And I'm realizing that a lot with the art. So I've been trying to set up a smaller studio. I came into the program mostly interested in doing larger metals, like blacksmithing and things like that. And I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew that the college had a blacksmithing program. So I'm like, that's what I want to do. Oh, no, it's a fine arts program. So I have to do 2 levels in each medium as part of the degree program. And also we explore the small metals too. So just space and time, I've kind of Facebook Marketplace and just different things, I've kind of accumulated a small metals studio space. And what I was working on yesterday was enameling. So I'm working on trying to do some copper plate enameling. I want to do just little pins or brooches, but I just want them to be cute little animals.
Yeah.
And so I've been experimenting with those lately, and we did a 1 weekend long workshop with a very talented Korean artist, Misuk Her. and she was friends with the small metals department head at, I say small metals, I'm sure that's not the right term, but more jewelry type department head. They've been friends for a long time. And before she went back to Korea for like a large project, like a thesis type thing, I don't really know what, but I mean, she's been really well known in the enameling space for a long time, taught at different universities for years and years. She came and did like a weekend long workshop. And so I came for the 2 days of the weekend long workshop, but everything's right there, all the right equipment, all of the enamel, and they're right there to ask questions. So like whenever you have a mentor right there that you can ask questions to, like the stuff just always turns out better, So here I am, I've got new materials, new stuff, just trying all these things just to try to get it to work. And it's not turning out bad, but it's not exactly how I envisioned it. But that's the point. That's the process. You get in there, you make the mistakes, you learn, you say, oh, okay, that didn't quite work right. What can I do better? And then over time, that's really where you kind of find your stride and you're like, okay, cool, I get this a little bit better now. Now I can make things that, I'm a little more proud of sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's life, right? Everything is a learning process of figuring it out. Like no one knows what's going on, folks, is what I'm saying. Like we are all, and it doesn't matter like whether you're 20 or 70, like there's certain wisdom that you gain along the way. And of course, but yeah, we're all figuring it out as we go. And I love hearing that you've jumped in with both feet on something that you're like, hey, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone and a medium that I'm not used to working with, but like how much of like a skill builder as well as like a character builder, like, that is like the resume of life there that you are filling in too. I think that's amazing that you're doing that. I love it. I'm so excited for your journey with that.
Thank you.
It's
yeah,
so cool.
It's been a lot of fun. There have been a lot of pulls for me to move back kind of in my previous career, if you will. So who knows really what's going on with that? I know at least on the Navy side, I'm retired, but there's still opportunities there that present themselves. So,
sure.
But I'm really enjoying the time at home. I'm enjoying being able to just slow things down a little bit and not have so many things be life or deaths.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when that's been your life for so long and like your career, high stakes career
Yes,
like
there you
that,
go.
I mean, that's a lot for anybody. And so I'm glad that you are having this time to like find your center again in self and being able to just be in is so cool.
Absolutely. So I definitely encourage anybody who's wanting to try something new, whether it's podcasting, whether it's art, whether it's dance, like just go for it. Go for it. Even if you have to start small, maybe you're just starting by watching YouTube videos or doing the Google searches or whatever. Just get out there, follow that spark, and who knows what it could turn into. As we've seen here with our special guest Laurel, is she went from dance to physical training, and now she's a professional podcaster. And it's just been so cool to see you all along that whole journey.
Oh, thank you. It's been a fun ride and it's not stopping anytime soon. I'm going to keep it going. And I've just loved learning, skills and learning these things along the way, but also learning about myself as I go too, which has been really transformative. It's been good.
That's
Thank
excellent.
you.
That's excellent. Yeah, because I do remember like even when I was in boot camp, I think I found like the weekend or whatever. I was up there for a while even after boot camp, but doing like the core school thing and then being on hold after core school. But I just do remember like going to your parents' house, having dinner, and you'd be like rushing back from dance or whatever the activity of the day was. Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I really threw myself into it. I was going to school. Technically, I was full-time student hours that I was doing, and then like working part-time. And then also like dance, hours-wise, dance was nearly a part-time job too. I was doing like 20 hours of work with that too, or 20 hours of like classes. So
yeah.
So
That's,
so yeah,
that's a
me
lot.
rushing around at that season of our lives, that was a flashback there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's exciting. Well, cool. As we kind of wrap up, I wanted to give you the floor if you have any closing thoughts, and also please let our listeners know where they can find you.
Well, thank you. It's been such a pleasure to be here and hang out with you, BD, and hang out with your listeners. It's High Tales of History is the name of the podcast. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google, and basically anywhere you get your podcasts. And yeah, it's been really wonderful. And yeah, I would just once again just encourage people to really, whatever, life is short, really, is what it comes down to. Life is short. You get to go one go around, really. And so finding whatever it is that really lights up your soul, pursue it. And yeah, and the wonderful thing about technology is, like we've mentioned, the YouTube, the internet, like there are so many places where people are sharing their learning, TikTok even, are sharing their learning and their skills with other people. You can really find a community of people that are also right there in that interest that you have too. And I think it's just like a really cool thing to do for yourself. It's like, it's a really empowering thing to be like, no, this is the thing that I want to pursue. And if it's something that you're like, I'm just curious about doing that. I've always been curious about taking a tap class. I think people that I was see Gene Kelly in the movies, and I think it's cool. I want to learn how to tap dance. Cool. Like there are so many classes that you can take locally. Local community colleges, libraries are a great resource. Oh my goodness. Libraries have all kinds of different programs. There's something that you see that just like sparks curiosity and joy in you. I think you owe it to yourself to try to discover more and tease that out. And who knows, you might find that you have a whole new life, a whole new road ahead of you to pursue, I mean, it can open up so many different opportunities.
Absolutely. That sounds so great. So thank you so much. We really appreciated having you on there. We loved hearing your insight into your journey just as a human, discovering parts of yourself and all the great things you've done in podcasting. I'm super excited to listen to more of your episodes and see all the great things that you all are putting out.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to having you on at some point in season 5. So we're going to have some fun chatting history together.
All right. That sounds great. I am definitely looking forward to diving into some history with you guys there. I can't wait.
Sounds good. Thanks, PD.
Have a good evening.
Thank you for joining us today on this curious roller coaster of life. If this is your stop, please exit peacefully. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you're ready for another one, just push play. Just a final note before you go, thank you, and thank you for feeling. The distillation and aging process is different for everyone. I'm not quite sure what you're ready for. Sip slowly and enjoy responsibly.
Baby says she's leaving if I don't stop drinking wine. So I switched to whiskey and I'm feeling fine. Drinking that smooth whiskey. No more wine.